I just said I'm about to start now. See, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's a soft start
it's a soft
anyway.
open.
I know, but still, you know.
Man, you look for a reason to yell at him sometimes.
I really do. Just anything. Anything. Get out of my chair. I'm yelling at Felix over here, which is the norm around here. But Felix was so nice to set up everything, and he was here on time. I was also here on time, but here's the deal. We had a screening this morning, and then there were a bunch of trailers to talk about. Ready Player One dropped. So there's a lot to do, and I'm still setting up for the show. And I'm going to be doing that for probably the next 10 to 15 minutes. But Martin's here. I don't want Martin just sitting up here just waiting on me.
It's okay.
He
I'm
does
used to it.
I know you story of his life. Wait on me more than his own kid. Martin, like, you are like my kid. And over here I have this handsome young Puerto Rican. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
He just escaped.
Just escaped. That's right, man. You are living here, a refugee no more, but actually living here.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm a refugee. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're still a refugee.
Yeah, I escaped Puerto Rico, so I'm going to Austin, and let me tell you, it feels great to have power and water.
Yeah, we take that for granted here, man.
You do. I'm not gonna lie, you do take it for granted.
Yeah, it's nice to wipe your ass again, right?
You ever see somebody pouring water just on the ground and you like, stop that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets me angry for sure. And I
man.
see people wasting food now and wasting water and drinks, and it gets me really mad, especially ice.
Well,
When
Carlos, let me tell you what I did today, man. The sun was out, and I just cut on the sprinklers and just played it.
You sit over
So, just ran my toes in it for a little bit, man. Yeah, because I can't.
Turn my heater all the way up and let the windows down.
Man, today I bought some Puerto Rican food.
Oh, was it good?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just took it and threw it out in the middle of the street. He getting mad now, you motherfucker. Man, you know I'm just kidding.
I know you are.
Yeah, but
He wouldn't throw away food.
No, I wouldn't. No, not at all, man. No. And now here's the deal. Felix was, he actually had a great idea because they were just sitting up here chatting while I was back there preparing, and my man Carlos was actually telling people about the whole ordeal that's going on with Puerto Rico. As we know, Puerto Rico was hit by a horrible hurricane, and people don't have running water, they don't have energy. Again, things we take for granted here. And so I'm going to let Felix, believe it or not, I'm going to let Felix actually take over for a little bit, and we're going to let this man over here share some stories. It was an interesting discussion. And then we're going to come into the show. For the show, as I said, it's going to be pretty much a trailer show today. And we'll have, the usual, some emails, some calls, and some news and whatnot. So just give me some time, and while that's happening, maybe we can bring you some awareness of things that are happening in other parts of the world, and you'll just feel that much better about your life and quit bitching about these first world problems you got.
Yeah, we all got the same president, so.
Yeah, we do.
But some people are more affected by him than others.
I think somebody's at the door. So I'm going to let you take over, Felix. You do not crazy.
He's got this.
You got it.
Don't you, Felix?
I do. And hey there, Chad. This is Felix. You know who I am, the one and only. But you know what? This isn't about me. Back in September, the island of Puerto Rico, one of the United States territories, was devastated by Category 5 hurricane. With us today, we have one of the survivors of that immense tragedy. We've got Carlos here to tell a story. Carlos, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me today, man. First off, let me say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. It does help talking about it. So, yeah, thank you.
Well, that's what we're here for now. For most of us, we saw this coming as a radar. Like, we saw the radar images before this even hit the island of Puerto Rico, and even Texas was hit by Harvey right before this. How did you guys first find out about Maria heading your way?
Well, basically, I remember during September, as soon as the storm initiated and started forming, everybody panicked because the last two hurricanes didn't hit. They were going to hit Puerto Rico, but they did not hit.
I remember that it was talked about what kind of damage it would do if they did, but then it kind of veered off.
They veered off, and we were very lucky, and especially in Irma that hit Florida, we were all very scared because Irma, if it touched us, we all knew we were going to be on deep shit.
Right.
But then what we did not expect is having 3 Category 5 hurricanes in a row. Especially that last one, basically going right through us. It's like there was no escaping it. And we all knew that. But I think that what makes it really, in hindsight and retrospective, harder is that we all thought we were prepared. We honestly thought we could handle it.
Is this the first hurricane you've been to? Have you been in Puerto Rico your entire life? And
I lived in my entire life in Puerto Rico. I traveled to the States, but that's been my home since birth.
Okay, so is this the first hurricane that you have personally been through?
No, I've been through 2 hurricanes and a bunch of storms, and this is the one that actually gets me trembling when I talk about it. Because the thing is that if you live in Puerto Rico, there were certain parts that got worse damage than others, but I was in a 10th floor apartment when it happened. So instead of having like 100 miles per hour wind, I had 200 hours per hour wind. So I had like those for me. So it was a little more difficult just because where I was placed
I know the building was rocked, but did it feel like it was swaying?
all the time. Like the storm hit at 12, and at 1 I started feeling motion sickness. And it was swaying side to side, side to side. So yeah, I was gnarly.
Yeah, I know. I'm from California, and we're known for having earthquakes. So we have buildings that are actually made to resist that. Has Puerto Rico's infrastructure built for hurricanes at all?
Okay, the first thing you gotta understand is that the Puerto Rican economy in the last 15 years isn't a shit. There's
Right.
no other way to explain it. It's been a nightmare. The infrastructure, the telecommunications, electricity, everything has been bad. The thing is that at the very end of his presidential election, our President Obama basically didn't really knew what to do at the very end because we were on a cusp of the worst economic crisis, and he was ending his term. So he basically implemented La Promesa. La Promesa is basically an institution governed by third representative from the Democratic and Republican Party that oversee every single major function. So where does this lead? So in other words, all the funds that could have been invested in helping Puerto Rico rebuild the infrastructure and maintain it went to paying off the debt. So in other words, we had an infrastructure from the 80s and 90s that was not being maintained. Add this a Category 5 hurricane, and you pretty much have a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to know more about the fiscal crisis in Puerto Rico, I recommend John Oliver on Last Week Tonight had a very in-depth, very detailed video about what happened to Puerto Rico and how we as Americans kind of fucked over other Americans there on your island. Now, we went through Harvey here. We didn't get it as bad as Austin, but it hit Houston, and Irma hit Florida right before Puerto Rico. Did those storms at all, did that help you guys kind of see that preparation needed to be done for Puerto Rico? And you said you guys ended up not being as prepared as you thought. Would you elaborate on that?
Okay. The thing is that we thought we were going to be prepared because we've been through big storms before, but this is the first Category 5 in almost 75 to 100 years. There's a 25 years difference. Don't quote me on that because I can't remember my history that quite right now. But I think it's 100 years difference. And the thing is that there was hope that it would turn into a Category 4, but when it hit the island, it actually gathered force. And I think the difference between the being a Category 4 and a Category 5 at the moment that hit the island was around 10 miles per hour wind, so basically nothing. So it just gathered force. We did not expect that to be stronger than we were hoping that it would decimate before hitting us, and it didn't happen. It just went right through us. We thought we were prepared because we thought we had the United States government back up. And the thing that we quickly realized after the storm is that we did not have any help. The help that we had was already on the island, was the people already established on that. And the response from the States was miserable to none. There was the logistics was a mess. I remember going to FEMA just to report the damages done to the apartment of my mother. And the line was more than 500 people. At the very end, there was a desk and a paper, and you had to sign your name, your phone number, and hope they will call you back.
Your phone number during a time when the telecommunications were down on the island?
I know.
Catch-22.
No, and the thing is, they were telling us, apply for FEMA, apply for help, apply for all that online. There was nothing. You were we were screaming at them, we were yelling at them. I know my mother was very rude on one person because we were all very desperate. If there's no telecommunication, we needed some representative, but there was none.
Now, I remember last time you were here, you were telling me about how every day was a big scramble just to find food.
Eat food, water, and gas. Those were the three things that were hardest at the beginning of the storm. Food, due to the fact that once we knew how big the hurricane was, everybody started rationing their food and basically having like, from where I live, basically it was like my family and my neighbors, depending on how many people were living, we were saying we will eat so much amount of food because where I was staying in San Juan, it was actually that bad. We were better than other parts of the island, but due to the fact that we didn't get hit that bad, everybody that survived the hurricane came to San Juan and Carolina, Bayamon, those are the north parts. So what happens when you have this entire island going to a certain spot? The supply ran out immediately in less than a day. So all of a sudden, you hope you had like your local Walmart stock. No, the Walmart is totally out. Why? Because it's not dealing with that place, it's dealing with the entire island.
And I'm going to backpedal a little bit here.
Sure.
So you're talking about the immediate after effect of the storm, but I want to know like the true immediate. As soon as this storm passes, you know you're at least safe from the winds and the rains.
Okay.
What is your first thought, and how close was your family for you to be able to? Because it seems like you were in contact with your family this entire time.
Okay. I was not in contact with my family. Like a lot of us, we didn't have communication. So what I did is that I took my car. My car survived the storm because we knew that it was going to be hard. So I convinced my grandmother, my aunt, to put my car in their living room. So I put it there.
How do you do that?
Oh, we just took the glass doors out.
Oh,
I know.
okay.
I know.
Resourceful people, the Puerto Ricans.
So we basically took them out, and my mom, I remember screaming at me, like, what are you doing? It's like category 5. And I remember my mom says, like, can you put my car and your aunt's in there? And we did, and all the cars survived. And with that transportation, that's how we got from point to point.
But you're never going to get those stains out of the rugs, though.
Might be a little water damaged. I
It'll
don't
be
know.
my little one damage, but at least our car survived. Might have a little dent, no broken windows, but I saw cars flip. I saw a lot of devastation, and I want to share my photos. I gotta like post my photos so I can really show the damage on day one. But I think the hardest thing is that the day after the storm, I lost my grandmother. And
Was it due to the storm that you lost your grandmother?
it was a combination of both. It's what we call not directly affected by it, but it was a consequence of it.
Like a power loss sort of situation?
Okay, my grandmother in Irma fell. That's the first storm. So she stayed in the local hospital, local VA. The thing is that I remember on that day, the doctor telling my mom, bring medicine, bring food, because we have none. And then during the storm, we had to take care of her. And the thing that gets me is that we tried that, and she slipped in and out of a coma, and my aunt told us, basically, we gotta let her go, because if we keep her alive right now, we don't have the immediate supplies. We don't have a generator. We don't have an air conditioning. Life support is going out, in and out, so it's better if she rests. And like hearing my aunt say that was crushing. Even though, it's my grandmother, she lived a happy life, she's been great to us, just hearing her to say, it is better if we let her go, because if she stayed with us, she would suffer. And it didn't register to me until the day after that I was doing like 8 hours line for half a tank of gas so I can take my mom and family from point A to point B and just get food. Thank you. And that's the type of stuff that gets me angry. And moving into Austin, I found a nice roommate. Last night he was throwing a party, and I fell asleep, and I heard a loud noise. I started screaming, and he asked me, "What's up?" And I thought I was back in the storm. I thought, honestly, I thought I was back there.
So you still have some PTSD from the event itself?
I don't know if to call it PTSD. I know it's post-traumatic syndrome. I'm not it might be, but I still wake up sometimes thinking I'm back in Puerto Rico. Then I realize I'm in Austin.
That's the definition.
That's the very definition.
that is the definition of post-traumatic stress disorder. So it's like, babe, but you know what, man? I just want to let you know
Sure.
that isn't weakness at all, man. I don't know how well I would handle going through what you've gone through right now.
No, man, I gotta say, my mom and my aunt, they were champs. They organized a beautiful funeral with almost no money, no power, no nothing, and they made a really good like sermon for her. So, like my hat off to my family because I know I don't know if I have the force, the power, the strife to do it. It's like,
How many brothers and sisters you got?
from my father's side, I got 2 brothers, 1 sister. From my mother's side, I'm the only one, but I got a bunch of cousins.
Okay. Were you all able to get together? Or
Oh yeah,
most
we
of
were
you?
able to get together like 2 days after the storm. As soon as the storm hits, I got the news of my grandmother. I called my grandfather, I called my dad, I called everybody else from the family, and they were okay. They were a little bit shaken up. Some loss of property. I know in my grandparents' house, part of the roof collapsed. So nobody got hurt, thankfully, but it did collapse, and I remember like saying like, "Shit! If anybody was there, they would be dead." Like for real, it's one of those things that. And let me be clear: this is a cement house. This is a house made out of cement, and it was the weakest part of the structure, basically like collapsed just of the pressure that was done to the buildings. In my apartment, some of the windows weren't closed now because the pressure was so big. The windows would expand and contrast. So now when you try to close it, they would not close immediately because that's the pressure. The door leading to my balcony is out of place, and it needs to be the entire frame replaced because the windows force.
Gotcha. And we were talking about kind of the recovery, and you had strong words to say from America. All things we knew about the recovery. We knew that eventually, when the commander-in-chief did go down to Puerto Rico, there was incidents with the mayor of
Jesus
San Juan.
Christ, yeah.
What was the perception, as a citizen of Puerto Rico, what was your guys' perception of the events that took place down there?
Nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted him there. We prefer
Mitt Romney?
Mitt Romney or Ron Paul is the guy from the Senate, the main guy.
Yeah, Ron Paul.
Ron Paul.
Wait, wasn't it Paul Ryan?
Paul Ryan.
That's
It's like,
yeah.
it's fuck, we don't give a shit about your politics. We don't get into voting in elections, so we don't really know.
Yeah.
I at least like try to keep up. But he got there on day 2, and the commander-in-chief took a week and a half to get there. And when he did, he told us we were okay. We weren't as bad as Katrina. Threw us toilet paper, shamed us, called my mayor a liar, saying that nobody was dying, falsely reported that only 55 people died, and the New York Times just recently posted, this is the New York Times, that the death toll is 1,050 or more.
Now, for those of you not paying attention, 1,654 about, and that's both direct and indirect.
That's a combination of both because the thing is that the numbers, I don't really know. Some people say it's a cover-up. Some people say the government doesn't want to say it, both state and federal. They don't want to say it because one of the things is there's a lot of people that die because of starvation. A lot of people that got buried in landslide, they're yet to be found. So if I were to bet, and I'm a betting man, by next year it might be double because there's still a lot of missing people. Right. Family members, like, they might find them, and one of the biggest people to suffer are the elderly. The elderly, like, it is hard to get medication still in Puerto Rico, and we're almost day 80. And the elderly, like, there's been a lot of reports of dying of malnutrition or not having chemotherapy, not having their treatment.
And you're telling us earlier that one of the biggest things for
right there, man. Shit, you bringing the show down, man. Hell, tell some jokes. What you doing? Thought you gonna tell some comedy, man. Getting on here on my show, crying and shit. Come on, man. What the hell is wrong with you? People here to be entertained. Get the hell out of here. No, you know I'm messing. Yeah, you know I'm messing with you, Carlos. Carlos looking at me like shit. There's about to be another hurricane in this bitch. You keep talking to me like that. But you know I'm just kidding, man.
I know.
You know,
Yeah, maybe he is, maybe not.
Yeah, you never know with me, man. I'm a
No, I know he's biased against Latinos, so I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm a
lifestyle. I wanted you to tell about. I'm giving very strong endorsement of that.
Oh yeah, that thanks to the guys at Refugee and Spills and other friends that I have through websites and social media, I was able to get life straws to me and my family, and they were a really big help. Like, those life straws really help us out when we, example, if we only have one package of water, it wouldn't make us crazy to go at 4 a.m. to look for water because we can ration the water we already got in the bottles.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a big plus. And a quick plug, like my thing is I want to become a game developer, and I gone to GDC, the Game Developers Conference, and I work in that conference, and the people that work there, they're called CAs. Those people organized a GoFundMe for me. They did the impossible to send me supplies. And I just want to say right now, I'm eternally grateful to those people, because when my local government and the federal government would not respond, like the kindness of others is what kept me going. And that's a pretty, like I never experienced that before in my life. And I like to think I'm not the same person back in September that I am now. I think I'm a little more conscious about tiny stuff, tiny things. And especially my friend Johnny and Ash that live here in Austin. You guys met them before.
Yeah, they were here when you were here last time.
Yeah, they were here. I'll be eternally grateful to them. I told them, you might not realize it, but you just gave me a new life.
Wow. Well, hey, man, you know what? I think it's funny. You thought you were going to come in and have a good time today. Yeah, man. That's one thing to say about it. There's laugh and tears up in here.
Chad wants to know, how can they still help?
How can he still help, Carlos?
Okay, right now, I'm doing great. Me personally, there's no problem. Like if you can donate, please donate to nonprofits. And besides donating money, the thing is, and people need to learn this, if you donate canned food, if you donate clothes, they're not getting into the people. They're not getting to the right people, because FEMA is doing an awful job, proportioning and in logistics. So you might send us a crate of food, and that crate might be still in the docks and not get out. That's really important. And I got a lot of criticisms about people telling me, why are you asking for money? It's like, at least with money, I can trade. And if a package of water, and this did happen, I had to pay $20 for like 10 bottles of water. And I did pay it. I had the money. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to fight about it. I need the water, so I'm going to pay it. So like money sometimes help more than actually having clothes or food, because you got to rely on other people to supply you that. And if you have a direct line to that supply, you can look it for yourself. And, like, hell, like that helped me a lot. So if you can still donate, spread the word. And most than anything in this next election, not to get, politics involved, fucking go on and vote. Like, this is shit. We don't get the right to vote, and we're more affected by your decisions than anybody else. So that's really shitty. Like, you guys have the right to vote, and I see it all the time squander. And you voted for an inefficient, non-intellectual person, a racist, a sexist. I still boggles my mind how America, the land of the immigrant, voted for him.
Damn, you looking at me like I did this.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hey, Carlos.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, most people didn't vote for him. It's just the way the electoral college works.
I want to reply to that because I still have the photo. CNN did a posting the day after election. 49% of the people in the state did not vote. So my thing is,
the people who didn't vote.
my
voted
thing
for
is
him.
more against the people
Yeah.
that didn't vote, because to a certain point, I do understand why they voted for him. I understand the coal miners. I understand the downtrodden. I know the type of people he went with, so I get him. He was smart. He played that election like a champ, and we all knew he was going to win back in Puerto Rico. We had hope that Hillary would like sway the elections, but at the end, he played a smart game, and he won fair and square. He didn't cheat. Like, maybe the Russian thing comes through, and he did collaborate with the Russians, but until further notice, it's on the people. It's nobody else.
Well, Carlos, I appreciate you getting up here and sharing, man. I'm messing
sure.
with you because, I know some people think I'm making a mockery of it. I don't give a fuck. But, because, that's...
Jesus.
I know. Here's the deal. This is sort of a special episode of the Sunday Service right now.
And a very special episode.
Yeah, a very special episode of the Sunday Service. So, a lot of people didn't expect this heavy material today. So, I run a show that is pretty much comedic. But every now and then we get people up here. And that is the beauty of doing a live stream and having the ability to bring on people such as yourself.
Thank you.
To give their testimonies and their life experiences and actually do it from a place of a very heartfelt place. I mean, you actually bared your soul today.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
Like, it helps.
And you had something important to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I
Man.
know it's
Like,
all fun and games up here all the time, people, but
I gotta say, like people like Luis Manuel Miranda, they've been doing such an amazing job for Puerto Rico, and it's like so proud of. Like we're all so proud of him.
Sure.
Like as a nation, like we could go anywhere and his name would come up, and it's with a lot of pride, because he's giving back to the community.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, you know what? Like I said, I appreciate it, sir. Thank
Sure,
you for
man.
coming up here and just volunteering. He didn't ask, I didn't ask him to do this. He just came up here and he was talking about it. It's not easy to talk about at all, as we saw with your tears a little while ago. But we do appreciate you actually being able to do that. I know it's very difficult, so thank you so much.
Sure, man.
Before we go, or before we actually get the show started, is there anything else that you'd like to share? Anything else that people can do to help, or anything we can do to help? Anything you'd like to part with?
Don't take the small things for granted. Don't squander your opportunities. Like I was like snobbish shit. Like I don't want to eat the same meal twice a day. Eat it. You don't know when disaster's gonna hit, and the shit is gonna hit the fan. So just be grateful for what you have and preserve it. That's
Okay.
it.
I will do that, man. I'm seriously. I know I've been making jokes about it. I told him I bought some Puerto Rican food today and threw it out in the middle of the street. He got mad. He looked at me like I actually did that. You know I was kidding, right?
I hope so.
Man, he's sensitive right
Yeah,
now. He can't be joking like that.
Yeah, shit, he's gonna choke me out before we even get this show started. We might not be back. It's rough to see because Carlos. I mean, hey man, that is a strong man right here because Carlos has been putting on a good face. Carlos called me
Smiling
right before
big.
smiling big. He called me before the show. He was laughing. Hey, I'm lost. I mean, he's happy to be lost. He's like, I'm lost in a place where I got some running water, some electricity. No matter what building I go into, there's gonna be lights on.
Yeah, there's no gunshots neither. So
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, man, he's been smiling and happy the whole time and grinning and well, we were the ones that had to break him down today. So sorry about that, Carlos. But hey, man, we appreciate that. So, like I said, people, if you can, as you said, don't take anything for granted, but also help, whether you're helping Puerto Ricans out or anyone. I mean, this is what's wrong with the world today. We just take for granted what we have, and we don't think about anybody else. I mean, president is one problem,
Yes.
but all of us are selfish people to a degree. Are with people who are very apathetic and don't do anything.
Yeah,
And-
it's that mentality of like, well, I got mine. I don't see why you can't get
Yeah,
it for yourself.
Well, that's why I know you get mad. That's why I always jump and you say, "Man, we're doomed." I don't want to hear that shit because that is the problem. Martin, like me, man. I didn't do anything.
About me.
I mean, I'm mad.
I attacked Puerto Rico.
I gotta blame somebody. Yeah, what her made me mad. I was like, listen. I was like, shit. Somebody. I already yelled at Felix today, so somebody gonna catch this shit. Might as well be you, man. But yeah, I don't want to hear that shit from anybody. Go out there and do something. Make things. Go out there and do something for the positive. Help us. You'd be surprised at just how much giving a compliment to anybody today will help out. Somebody like, yeah,
no.
don't feed me. Anyway,
Give somebody a compliment. Next thing you know, they got you up on sexual harassment charges.
just don't. Well, I was gonna say don't touch him, but yeah, I mean, say. Wow, I was thinking about that too.
Well, you have to take it that way, man.
See, get him, Carlos. Get him. I ain't the asshole here. I'm not your enemy, Carlos.
I thought you were, man. Like, what
Yeah,
happened?
we are both assholes up in here.
you
Not
watch
just
this
me. I
show.
thought
You
like
know
the way
how
you
it
looking
goes.
at me like I was the only asshole in here. Now you know. We trying to do something nice, like man, don't get a charge on, don't get a case. Don't grab nobody's ass. That's a lesson for today. Help Puerto Ricans and don't grab an ass.
Well, in his defense, it's kind of simple to follow. Like, I hope it's, is it that hard not to grab and be like, to do that?
Why are you looking at me?
Oh, no.
I ain't thinking about
I'm not
grabbing
sure.
asses.
I'm not sure you're
Carlos,
the
did you
one that
grab
brought it
the-
up, so I'm just asking.
Well, Carlos, we feel bad for you, man, but you got to get the fuck out of here now.
Yeah, oh my God,
Appreciate
like-
it. Thank you, man. Go ahead and be a refugee on that couch over there.
Hey, don't Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The couch floats. What are you talking about? Gotta bring back the
Ladies and
comedy at some point.
Tonight, the Asshole Brothers. performing live. You got it, man. Here's the thing. You think we're being some assholes here, but you got to smile. You got to laugh. That helped. Carlos, tell him. That helps out, right? Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Not as much as food, but yeah, it does help.
Yeah, well, laughter's free sometimes. Sometimes. You have to pay for this shit somehow. Quit freeloading up in here. Now here's what we're going to do.
Adjust my camera.
Adjust your camera, but I'm going to stop the stream, and then I'm going to start over because I want to get a fresh start for when I put up the stream. But somebody said put up what we have on YouTube. I probably will do that, and I won't monetize it or anything. It'll just be something to get the information out there about Puerto Rico. Again, I want to thank you people for being patient with me, getting the show started. It's a tight day today, watching Hugh Jackman jump around the goddamn tent today and everything. All right, so let's see.
Wow. I couldn't handle your life.
It's rough, man. You don't know what I have to go through, man. Waking up at 10 to go see movies, Carlos.
Yeah, I thought those last stories were.
Yeah, you don't understand my pain, man. Shit. Jesus, you're so selfish, Carlos. Jesus Christ,
Kind of watch
man.
trailers all morning.
Wow, man. Think about the other people, you know?
Won't you give?
Yeah.
Help us.
He ain't coming back in here. I thought you cared. We'll be back after this.